Approximately a month later, there was a flight that came down that was going into Elkins, West Virginia, and it would be taking the president, here's Nixon, and the press, the Senator Byrd, who was a senator from West Virginia, and about 13 other people. And it came down with my name that I would take my aircraft in, and I would be the pilot on it, and I would select my other crew members. And I was also, once that occurred, I selected my crew members, and we went up, had the plane for 3 or 4 days to go up and look at the field and see if we could do it safely. And it so happened that the day I went up to do this flight, the winds were 35 miles an hour, and Elkins is surrounded by mountains. They had one runway that if you went toward the mountains, you landed uphill. If you landed away from the mountains, you landed downhill. And I think I said it was 4,500 foot, which is very, very marginal for my type aircraft landing. And the regular Air Force One couldn't go in there at all.
I was an excellent student, academically so, and that was probably rare because I had so much responsibility at home, having to be the lady of the house. My responsibility at home before school was to prepare breakfast, a full breakfast, including biscuits, homemade biscuits. And as I shared with Kate, I do not eat biscuits today for the mere fact that I had such a terrible time learning to make and bake the biscuits to please my father. Many mornings he would throw my first batch out to the dogs and call them tacks because they were hard, and I would have to make another pan before I went to school. So I had an aunt who worked with me, giving me practice in making some nice fluffy biscuits. So eventually I pleased him and was able to do a decent pan of biscuits for breakfast. So I'd go to school, study hard, good student. Came home, prepared dinner for 3 siblings and a father, did my homework faithfully. On given days, I would have to stay out of school to do the wash. And the means of washing was a lot of times with a washboard. And that was difficult, but I got through it. And do the ironing for 2 brothers and a father. My other sister could do her own ironing. So in spite of all that, I made it through high school, graduated with honors, went away to college.
As a young person, my parents were both school teachers. My father was also a farmer. So my activities were primarily that of helping out in the farm and following my father around. So when every place I went with him wherever he was going. So in the transaction of his business, when he would go to buy things or whatever, I was always there. So I learned from him what it was like to run the farm, what it was like to run the family, and all. And also, there was never any doubt in our minds, and in my mind, that I would go on to college, because my sisters had gone before me, And as a matter of fact, they had talked to me, so it was just when I finished high school, I'm going to college. So that's what I did.
We were out front as an organization to encourage and to get women employed within the fire service of America. That was number one. And number two, after they were employed, we sort of worked with them to try to get them to not only be a part of our organization, but then to organize themselves to deal with their specific issues and things there. So what we did was to meet with them and to show them our organizational structure, to assist them in organizing and getting themselves together and which way to go. We did the same thing with the Hispanic in the fire service, and we offered them our model of what we've done, and we actually had invited them into the training programs that we had. And out of the program, there was a young lady who was a Native American who actually became the first we call it Native American fire chief of Madison, Wisconsin. And, you know, those are the kinds of things that happen as a result of that. So the women in the fire service is an area that we help to try to birth and get going, and also the National Hispanic Firefighters Association to get them going. And they're very viable now and going. So we work with both of them.